I'm Reid, editor of the EdisonReport, reporting for LFI News, and I'm here with FX Souvay, President and CEO of Lumenpulse. FX, welcome.
Good morning, Randy.
I'm glad you're here. We know very little about Lumenpulse. Founded in 2006. Are you VC-backed venture capital, and if so, who are your VCs?
I hear that question a lot, because we see, companies growing very rapidly, usually VC-backed. But Lumenpulse was not financed through venture capital. It was financed through my own money and my partner's money when we founded the company in 2006 from previous business successes. And ultimately, we continue to grow the business, over time, and up until 18 months ago when we invited investors' friends, not venture capital, to continue and participate in the success and the growth of the company, but we don't have any venture capital investors.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I know that gives you a certain amount of freedom.
It gives us the freedom to decide where we're heading as a company, making the right decision for the long term of the company, and not being forced out, for any specific, financial outcome.
Right. I spent some time in your booth last night. Really, it was in your bar. But I learned a little bit about Lumenbeam, and I understand it goes from 6-degree spot to 80-degree flood.
Yes.
Tell me about that product.
Well, if you talk about the Lumenbeam as a product, it brings the whole family concept of Lumenpulse.
Right.
Because we don't develop products in a bubble. Whenever we design a product, it's always part of a product family with the whole thought process of addressing many lighting challenges. So we don't go product specific, we go lighting application wise. So the Lumenbeam is one of our families. It's a family of architectural, high performance floodlight for exterior, but it's also a product that could be used interiorly with dependent versions for atrium spaces, airport spaces, so many different myriad of applications. So it's a product that marries with the other product families due to our Lumenbeam technology for, if you will, call it consistency.
Okay. I also been keeping up a little bit with Lumentalk, which is your communications protocol, which is really a clever name, but in essence is just kind of power line carrier, right? Which has been around for decades.
Well, regular power line, was analog. If you look at the X10 protocol, and that was a protocol that was very, very sensitive to noise over the power line. And we were definitely inspired by the logic of doing something over the power line, since we have to deal with the power lines anyway to power the fixtures. What we did is we innovated and we created essentially a bidirectional protocol that is fully digital and that is control system agnostic. So it doesn't really matter, what protocol that you talk to Lumentalk, it will respond in real time, whether it's a, DMX 0 to 10 volt dimming DALI system. And most exciting part is we take a simple triac dimmer and we don't even read it in phase chopping, because that's the last thing you want to do when you have power line communication. But we are reading the triac dimmer as a digital signal, which is allowing us to digitally dim down to 1% using a $3 dimmer.
Okay. Okay, you've got something there then, it sounds like. So it's more than a clever name.
It's much more than a name. And essentially, the way I look at Lumentalk, it's a facilitator. We don't pretend to be a control company. We are a technology company focused in lighting, and that's who we are. And we have the understanding of obviously of architectural lighting combined with technology capabilities, which are giving us the opportunity to develop products that are, we believe, meaningful for the lighting industry. And what Lumentalk is essentially, it's like a gateway. It's creating a network that is making lighting controls enabling much easier, because you don't need to change, whatever is existing on a project.
Okay. Another product that I found interesting last night was this Lumenline.
Yeah.
Now I understand 100,000 hours at L70, and it replaces a fluorescent T5HO?
Yes, that's correct.
And what's the energy savings?
Well, it depends on your layouts, but I mean, in generally speaking, it will vary between 25 to 35% as far as the energy saving, and you're going to use obviously fewer fixtures. So your total ownership, your total install cost will be reduced. What's very exciting about Lumenline, it's not a fluorescent product that was retrofitted with LEDs. You know,
Okay.
it was a product design around LEDs, like everything we do. So the thermal aspect of the product and the modularity aspect for maintenance purposes, you know, is extremely well thought out. And also you have some sophisticated control capabilities, dimming down to 1% digitally, interfacing with all of the standard protocols, you know, enabling also with the most recent partnership with Lutron, you know, where we are, you know, taking the ecosystem protocol from Lutron, literally embedded into our electronics without the use of any drivers.
Interesting. Now, you know, you talk a little bit about the friends who've invested in the growth that you're experiencing, and we have seen, you know, we hear of Lumenpulse quite a bit now. How do you go to market? Reps, direct?
I mean, definitely through agents in North America. You know, agents are very important. You know, they are the ones with the relationships, and they have a robust network, you know, of trade relationships, which involves contractors, distributors, and we definitely need them. What we also realize is, you know, we're competing, every manufacturer in the lighting industry competes for mind share. So how do we gain that mind share is, we believe, by delivering outstanding marketing programs, support and educational, and how do we get there is by having more people directly from Lumenpulse in the field. So,
Right.
so we have a lot of direct sales people as well, training our agents and working in conjunction with them to support lighting designers and some key architects to help them to really make the Lumenpulse story better understood.
Where are your key markets?
Well, you know, the key markets are growing everywhere. I mean, the largest market for us currently is definitely in the US. But I would say that, you know, we have...
But where in the US?
Where in
New
the
York?
US? I mean, New York is a growing market. Obviously, it's an important one. Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, right here, very important
Okay.
market for us. And, you know, San Francisco and Dallas, many places, essentially, because we're growing at a rate of 50% plus right now, so there's a lot going on.
Wow. You know, we met last year at a show in the UK,
Yeah.
and you had a great booth there. You have a great booth here. How important are trade shows like LIGHHTFAIR for your marketing efforts?
They're very important because, you know, it's giving us the opportunity to be in communication with, you know, our agents, and obviously the specifiers also coming to the shows. It's also challenging ourselves for many things, because having a trade show, it brings a deadline to the table, okay? So when
How
you're
well I know.
and when you're managing creative people, you gotta have deadline,
Right.
you know. And for us, you know, LIGHHTFAIR is in many ways brings, you know, a lot of good thing to the company.
Okay, excellent. Well, FX, thank you.
Pleasure.
I think you've got a neat company, and I
Thank
look
you.
forward to learning more about you.
Thank you, Randy.